the Director of Sports Performance here at Climbing Performance Method. I've built my vertical leap to 44.8 inches. I ran 23 plus miles per hour. I've ran a 4.4 40-yard dash laser. I've jumped on a broad about 11 feet, 10 foot 11, almost 11. And I'm here to tell you today how to perform better and how to actually increase your athleticism and become who you want to be. So first things first is, in order to get the results you want, you have to become clear on what you want, okay? And for most field or court or sport athletes that aren't just on a track the whole entire time, it boils down to these main athletic intangibles. Can you accelerate? Can you create force fast? Can you change direction and stop fast? And can you run at max V at a high rate? So breaking this down one by one, first is acceleration. We define acceleration as the positive change of rate of speed. This is you going from 0 to your max miles per hour or sub-max to your max miles per hour in the shortest period of time possible. Now, acceleration is true speed. It's what really gets shown in the game, right? When you think of people who are fast, everybody thinks max miles per hour. But in reality, your acceleration is the most important and the most used attribute. You're rarely ever going to run max velocity on a football field or playing soccer or lacrosse. It's always acceleration burst. So this is where the majority of your time in training should be set. Now, for you football players in particular, your life is based around the weight room for the most part. And some people have success in the weight room and some people get faster in the weight room, especially early on when they need general physical preparedness. But in reality, the best way to accelerate better is to actually practice acceleration. It's like any skill. It's like shooting a basketball. I keep shooting, I will get better. If you want to accelerate better, it's stupid to spend your time doing anything but acceleration. So you getting on a field and practicing 10s, 15s, 20s, under resistance, no resistance, all these different ways of doing it are 1,000 times better than you going in the weight room and squatting more for a number of reasons. Number one, you're in the weight room and you get bigger and you get stronger, you're adding weight at the cost of force. If you want to become a better accelerator, it boils down to how much force can you output relative to your body weight to get your ball or your center of mass going from 0 to 100 very quickly. And it's also a skill just as much as it is physical. It's more physical, but the skill of it is learning how to create force in the right direction. Okay, now certain drills are going to do this better than others, but just simply running and accelerating is going to do that for you. I want to keep this overview very basic and brief and summarize it all, but your 10-yard dash is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. Okay, you're going to improve your 40-yard dash on the first 10 more than you will on the back 10. So what I mean by that is, on the back half of your run, you're already running so fast that taking 1/10 of a second off of your back end is basically impossible. Okay, if I were to take a kid and drop him from a 2 to a 1.9 on his back 20 yards, it could take me, 6 months to do that. But I could take 1/10 off your 40 or 1/10 off your 10-yard dash in a month and a half if we do it right. We say we do about a 1/10 and a half to maybe even 2/10 in a 12-week period. If we get the right kid in, I can drop your 10-yard dash time from a 1.7 to a 1.55, and I've done it before in about a month's time with 3 training days a week. The 10-yard dash is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, and it's going to show up most in sport rather than anything else that I'm going to talk about on this list. Secondly, initial force generation. How much force can you output relative to your body mass in the shortest period of time? That number goes up, you have a better first step. You can stop faster, you can change direction faster, you move better on the field. And we use the vertical leap as our gold standard of testing for your ability to generate force. Not a squat, not a deadlift, not a clean. I think Olympic weightlifting in general, clean and jerk, all of that stuff is worthless. I think it's just outdated dogma that is being just pushed. Oh, you want to get better? You want to get faster? You want to become more explosive of an athlete? I'm just going to have you clean more. Cleans don't even move the bar fast enough to be within the realm of like speed strength. So I don't know where that is still even being done at. Like I don't know why they do it. It's a lot of questions for me, but we use a vertical leap. Why? Because the only way that physics will allow you to jump higher is if you jump faster. So you complete the movement in a shorter period of time. So by default, if I increase your vertical leap from 31 to 32 to 33 to 35, whatever it may be, you're outputting more force in a shorter period of time relative to your body weight, equaling more displacement. And every sport that you play is a rate of force sport. You only have the amount of time that your foot is on the ground to produce force, so you have to be able to do it fast. This is why the vertical leap is so important and is such a highly sought after measurement of an athlete. Because if you can produce force in a fast period of time, you jump high. If you produce force in a slow period of time, you don't jump high. It's very simple, and that's why it's used in every single professional test across the country, every single college test across the country, because you need to be able to create more force in a shorter period of time. You can also look at the broad jump for that. The broad jump's another one that we use because, again, it's force in a short period. We don't use the broad jump as much or look at it as the gold standard like a vertical leap because the broad jump is a little technical, whereas like the vertical leap, although there's technique, you're just up and down. It's a simple movement. Next on this list is center of mass management, okay, which is being able to create opposite forces into the ground in order to project your body, your center of mass, in the direction that you want to go. As an example, if I want to stop really fast, I got to create braking forces out in front of my body to stop myself and to slow myself from moving forward. The same is true for changing direction. If I want to change direction right, I have to create a large amount of force outside of my center of mass, outside of my frame, left, in order to get my center of mass to move right. So creating these advantageous angles within your legs and being able to get far outside of your base to create a severe change of direction or a severe stopping force boils down to reactive strength. Reactive strength is your relationship with the ground. Can you react to the ground? Does your body go limp and stiff and get stuck like you're in sand? Or does your body use the force that you put in, direct it back out, and then slingshot you to the direction that you want to go? And center of mass management is not hoops, hurdles, and ladders. All right, we do use hurdles here, but it's not in the sense of like we're just running around, running through, putting our feet in the ladders and these predetermined drills that are not explosive and not force-based. If you truly want to change direction better, you need to be putting large amount of forces into the ground and being able to take on those forces and redirect them efficiently. That's, again, why we use the vertical leap, because if you can vertical leap higher, you can create more force into the ground. If you create more force into the ground, you can change direction faster because, again, you're taking on and putting more force out. That's the king of it all here is force. All right, we can't sit here with a low level of force and do anything well. You can't accelerate well with a low level of force. You can't change direction with a low level of force. It's very hard. If you have a low level of force or GPP to begin with, then you need to focus on that first before you really try to get into the skills of acceleration, IFG, which is like vertical leap and center of mass management. And the best way to start for that is simply by just sprinting. Sprinting will be able to give you a good base of outputting force because the faster you get, by default, you're outputting more force. Now you can take your central nervous system and your force and put it into different things, but those are the three main ones. Lastly here, it's everybody's favorite, max velocity. It's the, I guess, most glamorous in our world of sports performance. Max velocity is how fast can you get your body to move, right? And this is the ceiling, I like to say, the tide that raises all boats. Tony Holler says that. Max velocity, if you increase it, everything else gets better below it because it's the hardest thing for your body to do. It's the hardest stimulus, meaning like when you are max velocity sprinting, everything is firing in sequence in order to create a very fast outcome of you running. So when max velocity is done and you do it right, long rest, short time under tension, or short duration of sprint, meaning a 10-yard fly, 20-yard fly maybe, with a long rest in between. And we don't focus as much on max velocity because it's not a attribute that's used often on a field or court sport. But we do it once per week. And another reason why we don't do it more than just once is because it takes so long to recover from. Max velocity is the hardest stimulus on your body. It takes the most out of you from your central nervous system. Again, because your brain is having to coordinate every single muscle in order, in sequence, firing correctly to become very fast. So the faster you become, the more wired you become and the more output you end up putting out. And that's what kind of lowers the CNS without getting into the nitty-gritty of it all. But we do max velocity once per week. We do that for two reasons. One, because at the end of the week, we did all the stuff in here. We did acceleration, we did initial force generation, we did center of mass management, and now we're just going to sprint our fastest. And the goal of that is to raise the central nervous system, so have the CNS start firing and output more over a 12-week period because we're changing max velocity, we're changing the athlete's ability to run a high miles per hour. And we also do it at the end because if we do it in the beginning, then our athletes won't be as fresh during the week to go hit acceleration, center of mass, or IFG, which are the 3 attributes that are going to be used more so than max velocity, unless, of course, you're a track athlete. So those are the 4 pillars right there. We call this the performance matrix at Clement Performance Method. If you want to train with us, shoot us a DM on Instagram. You can in-person or online training we offer. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and we'll get to another video tomorrow.